First Coaches Show of the 2021 to 2022 school year. My name is Ross Lebinsky. For all who don't know, I've been interning at KSST Radio since the fall, was employed in the spring, and replaced the great Don Julian, who retired in the summer. But I've been super excited the opportunity to work out here in Sulphur Springs and cover these Wildcat and Lady Cat sports, and really been enjoying my time and look forward to the future. But let's get right into it. So had a busy day yesterday on Friday, August 27th, as three teams were in action, starting with volleyball. The Lady Cats volleyball team were out in Lindale and had another successful outing, beating the Lady Eagles in 3 straight sets for a sweep, 25-17, 25-21, and 25-22, to increase their overall record to 11-8. But today, actually, at about the time of this posting at 9 a.m., the Lady Cats volleyball team will be taking on Trout in day 2 of the Edgewood tournament for their first game on the day. So, pretty successful outing, and it seems like Coach Bailey Dorner's team has kind of sort of seemed to found their footing as tournament play continues.
Yeah, they've been playing a lot, and I haven't got a chance to see, I think, one game yet. So, but they're doing well and getting after it and getting in their season, getting geared up, getting ready for district coming. So they're doing good.
Absolutely. And then moving over to the next team, we've got the cross-country team led by Coach Ross Hickson. Yesterday, they were out participating in the Kaufman Run with the Lions, and I got a chance to speak with Coach Ross Hickson, as I was telling Coach Owens here before we got underway, that had kind of a wishy-washy outing yesterday. The women didn't do as well as last weekend when they won the Commerce Tigers Invitational, but should of course be noted that in the Kaufman Run with the Lions, they're performing against a lot of 5 and 6A schools.
Yeah, they had a long trip, so I think they were going to leave at like 4:30 or something like that in the morning, because they had a 7:30 run, so that might have had something to do with them not getting enough rest and getting there. But excited about cross country and what they've got going on this year. Ross has developed a home course, so we're going to actually host an event. He had a little trial run for his inter squad a couple weeks ago, and so out at our athletic complex around our baseball, softball, and football fields, he's designed a course. So we'll be hosting some teams. So it'll be fun for folks that have never maybe seen a cross country event, come out and watch that and get to see all that. So excited about them, the future they got, and again, everybody's new in their seasons right now, and things are just kind of building, and everybody's trying to get it all together.
Absolutely, and just for one team specifically, the cross-country team, they seem to have a lot of upcoming young studs.
Yeah, our girls' team has been really strong. They had some young ones coming and did some great things, and the guys as well. So guys, everybody's just trying to find their own and figure out what their fit is.
And then I guess we'll move over to the football game. So very briefly, I'll mention the context for the game. We spoke about it during our interview on Wednesday, but you were set to host Frisco Wakeland. They call you in Tuesday, say they had to pull out, but luckily Coach Marty Secord offers up their district foe, Frisco High Raccoons, and so just as quickly as you didn't have an opponent, you found a new one in Frisco High.
Yeah, we just changed mascots. Now it was a little more, so you got a game plan ready for Wakeland. Then on Tuesday morning, you find out, hey, no, you're playing a totally different team and a totally different offense. Fortunately, we kind of played Pleasant Grove the week before, which is a wing T type set, and it's kind of the same stuff. So, but a very, very good Frisco High team that went to the quarterfinals last year, got beat by Lido. So we saw them firsthand last night, and they're really a good ball club. So, but yeah, it was an interesting week. Transitioning for that is the world we live in now. And so we kind of lived there last week, and we had to cancel a game last week, and that's not fun. We canceled on a Thursday night right before a Friday game. So those are hard things. So a Tuesday change, everything kind of worked out. All of our teams got to play, and we're excited about that. So same with us in football. We're just trying to build and get better. So the more reps we can get right now, the better off we are.
Absolutely. And while season opening loss is never preferred, just like you were saying, the ability to even play these games is a tremendous opportunity. And I was looking over the schedule last year and was pretty amazed, because I knew there was a 3 games that we had to cancel due to coronavirus, but to play a game for, and I counted exactly 4 weeks. So the ability to even play a game for this Friday, after the news came out Tuesday, you might lose an opponent, or you would lose an opponent, is still a blessing nonetheless.
Yes, it is. It is. So we're just trying to play, and that's like everybody. Everybody understands it, and you move on. And I was visiting with their coach before the game. He said, yeah, we're ready to play, try to play anybody. no matter the score, no matter the competition, whatever, we just want to play because our kids need to get better, and they've worked hard. And these times are kind of frustrating. I mean, yes, this pandemic stuff is serious, but the kiddos too. I think it's serious that we get back into our normal flow of things and some normalcy as much as we can. So kids work hard and want to play and compete. So we're just glad we had that opportunity.
Absolutely. And then go over the Frisco High offense for a moment. So you mentioned the wing T offense and how potent it was, but one thing we were discussing about during the pregame show leading up to the game was the fact that they had at least 10 senior offensive linemen anchoring that line, and that really helps in experience, and especially when they're running the same system that they have since Vance Gibson.
Oh yeah, it's the same stuff. So I mean, they're really good. I mean, their offensive line's really good. When they got their guard, I don't know, 6'5", 300, going to Texas. I mean, he leads that crew, and he is an extremely physical player, and they play hard. I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean, they're a physical ball club that just brings it right to you, and that's what they did. So they just continue to wear and wear. Our last experience with them, I can't remember the year, but it's been 3 or 4 years ago in the playoffs. We got a taste of the same stuff. So they got some other kiddos they can get the ball to that are pretty potent as well. 1 and 2 are really explosive kiddos that can run. So you add that dynamic to that kind of physicality right at you, there's a lot to deal with, and there's a lot of adjustments, and there's unbalance and all kinds of stuff, and they run it really well.
And you mentioned number 1 and number 2, but also number 3 and number 5, Bradford Martin. Number 5 had a very good night against Coach McCain's defense. And I guess the first question I would ask you is, what were your thoughts on your quarterback play last night?
So we jump back over to offense. All right,
Yeah,
you're
sorry.
jumping around over here. Okay, all right. I mean, it's just young guys. I mean, young guys that haven't had a whole lot of Friday night experience, and they're jumping in there, and I thought they did well. We've had some ill-advised throws at times, some things that I think they were just uncertain about, and we kind of threw some stuff up. We did have one interception. They played extremely well. I think we threw it a little behind. They picked it off, and not a great time in the ball game for that. And then we had another one later in the game that, because they were offsides, that one didn't count against us. So some ill-advised things on that, but overall, I think they did some good things. I think they're still settling into this. The scrimmages, even though we played them like a game, it's not a game. It's not the tempo and the fast pace, and you're not seeing the A-team every time the first bunch come out. So with that last night, but I thought they did well, just settling in there. I don't have no idea what the numbers were. We're still breaking down video, so I don't know any about all that stuff. But overall, I mean, they kept their composure. They were not starstruck. They were not in awe of anything. I thought they came in and did a good job. And early, I mean, we got some dings with some guys that didn't get to finish the ball game, and that really hurt us depth-wise. So we were kind of scrambling around trying to get guys in the right spot offensively and defensively that kind of put us a little bit behind a couple areas. So we had some guys out there that weren't as fresh as we'd like them to be, and that they were just getting worn out pretty quick. Special teams, I mean, the whole thing. So we got kids that are playing both sides of the ball, and they're on the special teams group. So got a little thin with some of that stuff. And so that hurt us, I think, just a little bit because we were a little fatigued in some areas and just couldn't quite make that step to get there. But, overall, I was proud of our kiddos, the way they fought, the way they got after it, offensively, defensively. I mean, we just keep pounding them. Hey, play one play at a time. Play this play, this play, this play. Don't worry about the last one. You can't control it. I was proud of some of our senior leadership stepping up, and they're just saying, hey, let's go, because they understand we're getting better. It's not the end of our season. We win the game or lose the game. We still have to play, and we still have to get after it. So we're trying to get better every single rep, every single play, and that's the thing I think we've pounded the most in them. Get better on this rep. No matter what you do, best effort, get better on this rep, and big things are still coming for us. So we're still trying to figure out who we are. Again, I was talking to their coach before the game. He was the same way. We're still trying to figure out our identity, that kind of stuff. We don't know what team we got. We just need to play. We just need to get reps, and that's with us. You can't simulate this stuff in practice. You just can't. And so when you get live competition, then you get to put those kiddos in some situations that makes them grow up. You got to figure out what they can do, help them gain some confidence, help them figure out what they need to work on as well. So we saw some really good stuff, and we saw some physicality, and again, had some senior leaders kind of step up and play and do a good job for us of leading.
Absolutely. And speaking about what you were talking about not being able to simulate these real-time events, I do remember during the Edge coming to practices, and y'all were simulating the tribe drills, simulating scooping up a fumble and taking it up the other way. But one of the things that was pretty prevalent in the game last night was one team scoring, and whether it be the Wildcats following up with a score or Frisco following up with another score in another minute. So it's kind of hard to obviously simulate things like very quick turnarounds and quick succession scores like that.
Yeah, you get to play a game. You just don't know. Conditioning becomes a part of that. You just kind of play yourself in condition. I don't think you can ever get yourself into shape. I mean, we work on those things. I mean, we work on, like you mentioned, the tribe test. Well, that's a test we're doing now. It kind of simulates a play, and you do the repetitions of them. You do 12 of them. And you give them a minute rest, and here they go, they hit it again. So, but you can't simulate that. In a ball game, it's different. You're exerting all this force, you're running, the emotions are up, the emotions are down. I mean, you're having to think more. I mean, there's just all these things that you're having to try to control and to keep in perspective, and then try to work through that. So, we're progressively getting in better shape. I mean, we didn't have any kids cramping up last night, so our kids are. I mean, that's some of the training I think we're doing. I also think that's the kids taking care of their bodies better and getting the proper nutrition. So I was proud of us for that. Again, I mentioned earlier we're pretty thin in a lot of areas, and so those kids were not cramping for us last night. So we keep praising them for that, for them taking care of business. And again, you just see them kind of working through it. I'm on one young man playing for us, Griffin Crawford. Griffin was inside linebacker. Well, he is also on kickoff return, so he's playing defense starting there, and then turns around. If they score, he's going to be on kickoff return. Well, after about the second one, he was gassed. I'm thinking, so he's asking for a sub, so we got a sub, and we found a guy to get in, and then but about 2 or 3 other kickoff returns later, he comes back out. So he's kind of learning to manage. It just kind of struck me at that moment, going, okay, you good? Yeah, I'm good, Coach. So he was learning how to do that himself. I'm not saying he got in shape within a quarter or two, but I am saying there's a way that you just kind of figure out, hey, how you got to manage your I don't say your stress, but to manage your how tired you are in your mind. And part of that is a focus that you learn to do with that, and you learn how to just say, okay, I got to suck it up, I got to go. So those things just kind of worked out, and I saw other guys do the same thing. So it's not only physical, but this is a mental challenge as well, to learn how to fight through those tough things and how to do that kind of stuff. So we're doing that. I see us growing up and doing those kind of things in ball games, and we know when a kid's gassed, they know when to ask, and let's get a fresh body in there, because they know if they're tired and give out, they can't give their best. So those are things we're still working through, and how to substitute each other, all that kind of stuff. And I thought our coaches did a good job, because we're sharing guys on both sides. They did a good job. Okay, he's starting on offense this time. I got my back up here. And they just kids let us know when they could go, couldn't go, and did a pretty good job about being there. It was my fault. I called a timeout early on a field goal. It's kind of a late decision. Can we make this or not? So I think that's the only timeout we really wasted for not having kids on the field. For the most part, kids were there for special teams. They were ready to go. That's another thing. Am I locked into the game? Do I know when it's my turn? All those things taking place. After field goals, PATs, again, the excitement, they're running off, we scored. Oh, yeah, now we got to go kick a field goal. You just don't do that every day in practice. We'll simulate that on a game on a Wednesday. We call kick the field. We simulate those kind of things. But again, when you're in a game and you're tired and the crowd's there and the band's playing, I'm excited, we just scored. Usually somebody's going to forget. You're yelling the kid's name out. You're trying to find them. Usually you have more penalties and stuff. But for the most part, our kids were locked in on all that. So I think those things are good. So what am I telling you in all this? So we're getting better. All right, just by each position, kids are figuring things out. We got a couple kids on the offensive line that have never played offensive line before, so they're learning how to do that kind of stuff. They're learning how to get better at that. We're kicking game stuff. It was good for our kicker. He missed 2 last night, messed up on a couple kicks as well on kickoffs. All right, but he got the experience of all that. He got to see it. Then he nailed one at the end, successful on his PATs. So all that kind of stuff just kind of works together. So I'm looking at all this stuff as just kind of coming together. Then we're figuring out who we are, everybody getting the mode of and in game speed, if you will, of what and how it's going to work. So anyway, I know I'm rambling a long time. You probably need a commercial here, but I'll stop for a second.
Thanks so much, Coach Owens, and he's exactly right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a moment. So we're back here with Coach Owens. Very briefly, I want to touch on team tennis, who on Tuesday took on Mount Pleasant at the Tennis Center at the SSISD Athletic Complex, and both the varsity and the junior varsity teams for both schools played. And Team Tennis, coached by Tony Martinez, got a clean sweep of the Mount Pleasant Tigers at 19-0. So a very successful outing for Team Tennis and Coach Martinez's squad. And then coming up on Tuesday, they will again be at the Tennis Center at the SSISD Athletic Complex when they host a very tough foe in the Texas High Tigers. But let's move back over to football and the football game last night. One thing you mentioned during the week was watching Frisco's tight ends. But how about Carson Fitton and Luke Caton taking it 40-plus yards to the house?
Yeah, it's good. I thought Coach Young and the staff found some things. The guys were playing us wide, their receivers to our fast screens and stuff, and just opened up the middle, really weren't paying attention to the tight ends because really we hadn't had a long focus on them. They don't know us as well either. So they watched 2 scrimmages, and our focus was not on those guys, but they were leaving the middle of the field wide open, so they did a great job. Carson made a fantastic catch. It was kind of behind him. He caught that and took it to the house, and then Luke did the same thing. Luke had to step through a few tackles on all that kind of stuff. So they did a really nice job of opening that thing back up and loosening the outside back up. They had to make them focus on it a little bit more. So good job for those guys finding that, kind of giving us a spark, making it go, take what they're giving us, that kind of a deal. So those guys did good, did really well. And I think we targeted Carson again later. Maybe it was about a 10 or 12 yard. And that was, you talk about quarterback play. So it was wide open when the play was called, and the safety moves right back in, and so I thought the quarterback did a great job of recognizing that, not just lofting it up for him to run underneath it, but he really put it on him, and we got a first down out of it. But it was a nice little quick play and inside, and he recognized. So those are things you look for, subtle things that people don't see, but you're thinking, hey, another home run, here we go, hit that one. But again, the quarterback seeing what happened, put the ball where it's supposed to go, and then make the tough catch. So that was good. And you talk about tight ends and all that. We talk about receivers a little bit. CJ had a really nice night. We just got to get the ball in his hands. He's been a little inconsistent on his catches in the scrimmages. Last night was much better. Got the ball in his hands, and when he get the ball in his hands, he's pretty special with it in his hands. So we got to do a good job of doing that. We talk about in our office all the time, get the ball to the playmakers, the guys that can go make plays, and both the fields kids, guys outside. It's nice to see them go catch deep balls. I mean, they are deep ball threats, and I'm going to beat up Weston here a little bit. He had an opportunity to catch a really big one. They kind of let go through his hands. But when we can catch those and take those long shots, those aren't always high percentage, but it does loosen the defense up. It makes them nervous. It makes them back off. So if you got guys that can go behind them and get back and get behind them, then it helps you out quite a bit. So it gives you the shorter stuff. It helps you out, but we want to take shots, and we will take shots. We just need to come up with some plays, though. So those guys did well. Malachi rolling on the offensive side of the ball. Malachi was good. I mean, a little sophomore. I mean, he is fast, quick. J.J. dinged his shoulder up a little bit in the ball game, and he didn't get to do as much. Dougie was starting on defense, and he's been beat up a little bit with a foot. So Malachi really had most of the load last night, but you saw how explosive he was. So he's one of those guys that can hurt you. He gets loose in the open, too. He's another one. He's not very big, but, man, he is explosive. So he comes out of the backfield and rolls and does a good job catching the football for us. And so I thought those guys did good, Brady Driver, he ran the ball well. He's a threat when he pulls it as well. Don't want him running for his life all the time, not as that, but we have our design runs, and he's got to read, and he pulls it. He did some good stuff, too. So it slows down the backside pursuit on their defense when you're able to do those kind of things. So all that stuff was pretty good. I mean, it was not bad. I mean, offensively, up front, I think we got to be more physical. There's time, again, their guys were physical. They were coming off the ball and penetrating. I thought our offensive line, for the most part, settled in as the game got better. We got better. So, again, that's some of that inexperience just kind of coming on. A couple guys in there that were hanging our hat on, Sean Dial and Jacoby Yarbrough, the seniors. Hey, you guys come in here, but you got Josh Sutton, Connor West. It's his first time to play O-line. So you've got some kiddos, and Drew Hodges was on the other side. He's on the blind side. Tough job over there. He had a good-looking defensive end on top of him. He fought his tail off. Those two tackles are a little undersized, but, man, they're fighters. And they'll get after you. So they did some really good things. So a lot of stuff to clean up. There's always stuff to clean up the offensive line. It's just they're athletically, most of the times they're outmatched just because of the speed and the quickness on the other side. So you want them just to continue to lean on them, continue to get better and work on their technique. When they do that, it gets better. So those guys did well. Again, cleaning up pass pro later. They brought some delayed blitzes at us early, which kind of got in our face and disrupted the quarterbacks a little bit. But again, quarterbacks didn't take off running. They kept their composure most of the night. And, Matthew Mitchell, he took some shots back there a few times, just guys coming off late. So those are, again, things we got to clean up some stuff on pass pro. But overall, pleased with those guys and overall effort and continue to battle all the way through. So that's an offensive recap kind of a little bit. I don't know if any more specifics on that you want to talk about, but
I was just going to very quickly mention that one play that did prove to be pretty fruitful for you and your squad last night was the quarterback bootlegging out of the pocket and then dishing it out to the flat, and the running back, and mostly Malachi Rowland. Yeah,
but the boots on all that, the drag to CJ on the backside, that kind of stuff, works out. Caton in the tight end, him and Fenton in the flat, those things are good misdirection plays for us. And again, we got two athletic quarterbacks that are able to get outside, and if it's there, they're just going to run it. So it's another threat, another thing. So that's one of our misdirections we've got. So people have to kind of honor that again to slow them down on the backside to keep them pursuing you the whole time. So, but no, that worked out well. I'd like to see a little more consistency in some of the passing department, but we're getting there. It's coming. I mean, it's just consistency again of a game and kids' emotions. Well, that route's supposed to be at 12, but he ran it at 7. Well, that messes the whole thing up. I mean, so it's just those guys and some guy over here running his mouth at you, DB, trying to get in your head and trying to, so the kids lose their mind. So they kind of have to calm down and do that. And then, some it's just overcoming the whole atmosphere of the whole thing, just kind of going, wow, here we go. So it's funny. It's been a long time since I played, and I'm sure I can't hardly remember some of that stuff. But, I mean, it's funny to hear some of these kids talk about, like, oh, yeah, I remember last year. Golly, I'm really going to do this. This is really Friday night. And, just the emotions. You forget that as an older coach a little bit about how emotional those things are for those kids. And it's a big deal. And it's, it's kind of like, well, I didn't think he would be that way, but they are emotional about it. So there's a lot of that stuff that has to calm down when you get in a ball game. And we've had some quarterbacks in the past that we would come out and the first thing we would do is we would run them. It's kind of like lathering up a racehorse. I mean, they just need to sweat a little bit, carry the ball a little bit, and calm down. And once you got them calmed down, they were okay, pretty accurate. But those are some of the things. You just kind of have to know your players and who can handle it and who can jump out of the gate and go, and who you kind of have to lather up a little bit and warm them up a little bit more. So we're figuring that all out with all these guys. And again, I was proud of our kids' attitude. They just kept battling, kept fighting because, second quarter, the wheels kind of came off in there a little bit for a while. We really lost momentum, and we missed the field goal. Next thing you know, we turn around, here they come, then we got a pass for an interception. All of a sudden, here we go. It's helter-skelter all of a sudden, and so you just got to kind of slow things back down. But again, came back, answered, here we go. Of course, we'd like a different result, but that's just the way that one went. So we live and learn, and we move on to the next one.
And the last question I'll ask you before we go to another commercial break is one thing you were talking about is the team calming down. And one thing we definitely saw late in the game was 2 late scores, one a passing touchdown and then a last-second field goal. So kind of walk me through those last 2 drives.
Well, I think their coaches were a little miffed. I mean, we scored and all that, but I mean, I don't care, to be honest with you. We're trying to get better as a team. It's not like this, just get this game over and go home. We look like this is a souped-up practice, really, to be honest with you. Play till the end. We're going to keep taking shots. We're going to keep throwing. These are things we're trying to gain confidence in our guys. We're trying to gain some chemistry with quarterbacks and receivers, all those kind of things. So, we don't want to get anybody hurt in the ball game, end of the game that's over, but at the same time, we're still wanting to get better too. So those are things we're still working on, we're still doing. So it was nice to see Landon Fields go catch a long ball. Then we line back up, we kick an onside kick. Okay, can we execute this thing? Again, there's a kicker in the moment that he's got to go try to execute a kick and understand what we want him to do. So those are just things that, we're just still coaching, we're still playing, we're still going. I kind of looked at their sideline, and there's a couple of their coaches were just kind of like, what are they doing? We're still playing, guys. That's what we're doing. So, but it all worked out okay, and you don't want to get anybody injured or dinged up at the end of a ball game either that may affect the next ball game. But at the same time, it's early in the season, and we're working to get better.
All right, and we'll be back after just a moment. Welcome back to this Friday, Saturday, August 28th edition of the Coaches Show, the first of the 2021-2022 school year. We are speaking with Wildcats football head coach and athletic director Greg Owens, and we've spoken pretty at length about the offenses for both teams over last night's game. But let's talk about Coach Kurt McCain's defense.
Yeah. They battled. I mean, it's hard. It's hard playing wing tees in the day, so you don't see them all the time. You know, there were two. I'm sure I'll get some critiquing this week. I know of two former defense coordinators from back in the '80s that were up there, and that's all they had to stop that stuff. So I kind of joking with both of them afterwards. Well, what should we have done? One said penetration, the other said, you should have covered this up. So they got their thoughts and ideas, but it is interesting because you make one adjustment, they're throwing unbalance at you, they're throwing a quick huddle at you. Then all of a sudden they're running the trap out the back door, they're running the base dive out the back. So there's all these little games that they play, and then those guys are really good at what they do. So it's the same coordinators they've had there for a long time when Coach Gibson was even there working with those guys. So they know what they're doing. They know how to counter whatever you're going to throw at them, and there's not much they haven't seen. So it just really boils down to guys being physical, guys making plays, guys coming on, and I asked Coach McCain before I left, I said, hey, give me how would he play? Evaluate a couple guys. So he praised Nick Cantillo. Nick up front was really active, did a great job being physical up front with those guys, and he also had high praise for Cordarian Turner, which we call Bull. Bull was very active. Bull did a great job of that. Bull played a little high. He got cut. I've been watching video where linemen are coming out and getting on him. So he's learning as well. But just the effort overall of everybody was really good. I don't know what people think about this comment, but we didn't give up. I mean, they kept fighting. That's how I know you still got your football team, when they keep playing for you, when they keep fighting, when they keep going. So coaches did a good job of keeping them level-headed. Nick and Bull were out there. That's two of those guys. I'm talking about senior leadership, just calming everybody down. Hey, just play. Let's go. Just play ball. And that's really was my pregame to those guys. Hey, guys, we're getting to do what we didn't hardly get to do sometimes last year. Y'all enjoy this. We're getting to play. We had a game canceled Tuesday. We found one. We're getting to play. So enjoy the moment. And I think they did overall enjoy the moment. Now, but it's a contest. It's physical. That thing was physical. You mentioned their offensive line. So our defensive front, Brighton Reuter had to battle up front. Kyron Cork, he was battling up front. Carson Fenton. Just guys just coming in. We got some undersized inside linebackers right now, and they're just battling their tails off. Griffin Crawford, I mentioned earlier. They're playing. They're playing their tails off and doing a good job. So, that's what I can say. They fought. Got some turnovers. They had some momentum. Offensively, we didn't take care of it. We didn't take advantage of some of that and try to punch that in. But the game is just a roller coaster. And we talk about that with them all the time too. Don't let your highs be too high. Don't let your lows be too low. You got to find a middle. Understand that's the game. Okay, that's what's going to happen. You're going to score. They're going to score. Things are going to go on. Can you keep your composure? So that's what I was proud of. So proud of them doing all that kind of stuff till both sides figures it out. So that's part of being a part of a team as well. So saying all that, did good stuff. This week's going to be a different challenge from that. You're going to go to a Lovejoy team that I think they've lost in the semis last year. Another really good football team. So they know what they got lots of move-ins that just happened. So we'll see what we're going to face. Hadn't seen video of them yet. I know last night they beat Bryan High in pretty good fashion. So he'll have them ready. He does a good job with those guys. And again, I don't know if they're just reloading. I can't remember how many returners he had from last year, but I do know they got quite a few move-ins. So we'll get some video out and see what that looks like today. But he does a good job of kind of spreading it around. They throw it, they'll run it, and they've had some big linemen in the past too. So not sure what's there right now, but it'll be a little bit different. It's not the trap and the buck and the quick pitch and all that. It'll be more traditional like us. And anyway, got to line up and make plays. So we'll see what that holds, and then we'll get after it and get some of these guys well and get back and be a better football team this next week.
And that game is next Friday, September 3rd. And what's Lovejoy Stadium?
Right. On our schedule, it's right at their high school. So people just punch in Lovejoy High School, and it's right there on that campus. The game is a 7 o'clock game, so it's a little earlier start. Most of the Metroplex guys want to do a 7. Previously, I thought we had it worked out at 7:30, but it's 7 o'clock. So that puts everybody in a little bit of a scramble. So sometimes for the Metroplex guys to come out here, it's not as bad because they're leaving all that traffic.
Right.
For us going in, it's traffic time, so we're running into all the traffic. So it'll be tough. It'll be a little scramble, but just keep that in mind, I guess, as you travel. And I still don't know where Lovejoy is. I know it's right by Allen. I just know we show up there because we all punch it in our phones, and it shows up. You drive through all these neighborhoods, and there pops out of school. So anyway, it just punch it in your phone and give yourself a little extra time and to get there, and we'll see what happens over there. But they got a nice little school, stadium, all that. Do a great job over there. Classy people. So it'll be good. It'll be fun. And again, 7 o'clock game start.
Yeah, I could rattle off all the instructions on how to get to Lovejoy High School, but I don't think that'd be too conducive to the listeners.
It doesn't help.
Yeah. But, yeah, you're exactly right. It is really hard to miss. It's nothing but green grass and fields out there, and then all of a sudden there is the high school. But the last thing I want to talk about before I let you go is, so we mentioned that you were supposed to take on Frisco Wakeland this week, but you mentioned on Wednesday that the junior varsity and the freshman team still ended up playing Wakeland. How did that go?
Well, our freshmen played Wakeland because they were not around their JV or the varsity. The problem that they were having was their JV and the varsity kiddos were not going to be able to play. So our freshmen still played them. So we hosted them here, Wakeland, and then our JV went and played against Frisco High at their place. So JV lost 14-7, and our freshmen lost to Wakeland. I've forgotten the score now, like 30-something, 34-22, something like that. It seems like pretty close. So by a touchdown or so. But again, improvements there. I mean, I can go through stuff, whatever, but we got things. We're missing about 5 guys on JV right now, and hopefully they're back this week, and we'll get to going. Freshman-wise, it's transitioning to high school, understanding it's a little bit different level and all that kind of stuff, and we got to do a better job of managing those guys. We got a lot of guys playing both ways there, too. You're talking about one class, and you're trying to get them. So we had some guys get pretty exhausted in that ball game and get tired, and so we got to get some guys back too and figure out how to manage that just a little bit better to help them. And again, it's just them kind of calming down. But bottom line is too, Wakeland's pretty good. So you're playing a pretty good opponent in those guys. So it's always a challenge. So the older these guys get, that's what they need to understand. It's not just the best athletes always win. You start getting to high school ball now, it's more about scheme and strategy and all that kind of stuff, because at the freshman level the same way. You're able to do more because these kids are a little more mature. Mentally they can handle it. And so it's just kind of about your preparation, and you just can't show up out there and say, here we go. You got to line up and be ready to play and understand that stuff. But that's what's kind of fun about freshman JV guys, watch how they grow from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, how their mind, they just start to understand the game. Before, when they're in junior high, you're just playing, you're trying to play really hard. You're coaching technique, but again, it's just about them giving great effort down there and getting after it. When you get to high school, then it's more about them starting to understand the game. I got to get outside leverage, inside leverage. What does that even mean? Where's inside? Where's outside? All those things, they start to grasp, and the ones that really love it, they get really good at that, and they figure it all out. So, again, a couple key people they're missing there will help them a lot too, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll get all that stuff worked out and get them. So it'll be good. So this week, our freshmen generally follow the varsity schedule. So our freshman JV play opposite sides. So the freshmen follow what the varsity does. So they'll be in Lovejoy, and our JV will host this week versus Lovejoy. And I got a schedule out there. Those times aren't always right, because we talk to that coach and they can't leave till this time. Some of those things change. Sometimes we have a B team. We like to always have a B team, but all of us are struggling right now. We got partial B teams, so we may just try to play those guys a little bit earlier. So, so generally speaking, we'll try to keep that stuff posted and up to date online, but roughly it's 5 or 6 o'clock when the starts are. So but excited about those kids and them getting better, and they're fun to watch. It's exciting little groups, and they got some energy about them. So that's what we're pumped up about.
Anything else you'd like to add, Coach?
I don't think so. It's just going to have a great week.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to this August 28th edition of the Coaches Show, the first of the 2021 to 2022 school year. And while the football game last night may not have gone the way that we all wanted it to, still great to have you on, and great to get this football season underway.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And With your interview, I'm Ross Levinsky. Shooting video, as always, is Doug Hastings, and then running the board is our ever wonderful James Terry. Thank you so much for watching the Coaches Show. We'll see y'all next week.